All right, a Fox News alert on that missing Malaysian flight, and brand new information out just as we began this show. We found out that files were in fact deleted from the pilot's home flight simulator, which, by the way, he constructed. Can those flight patterns be recovered? And what would it tell investigators? Joining us right now, our commercial pilot and flight instructor, Philip Holloway. He's back with us, and MIT professor of aeronautics, John Hansman. Welcome, guys. First off, on the information I just told you, start with you, John. What does it mean to you?
Well, we got to see what files they were that were deleted. It could be something innocent enough, like he had a memory problem in his computer and was just trying to get the memory down. But I think what people are concerned about or looking for are files that would indicate practice flight trajectories. And that would give us some clues to where the airplane may have been headed if, of course, it was deleted by, and the captain was responsible. Yeah,
and Philip, we're just finding out about this now. I mean, they should have been in there the day of when this pilot was found to be missing with this plane, but they find out these patterns are gone or deleted but recovered. What would you ask?
You know, you took the words right out of my mouth. We should have known about this all along. I've always said this is a criminal investigation that needs to rely upon facts, accurate facts, complete facts, and timely facts. Computer forensic analysis in this day and age is widely accepted as accurate. We need somebody with the know-how and the technology to go in there and look and see what was on these hard drives, retrieve it. Even if it was deleted, they can still find it. And then we'll know what it was, and it will give us some actual insight into what may have been going on in the captain's mind. Was it criminal, or was it just practice? It's not uncommon for an airline pilot to practice with a flight simulator, but if he's deleting data, perhaps about landing on an aircraft, landing on a airstrip in the Maldives somewhere, that's something that we're going to want to know about.
Yeah, there's over 600 airstrips in the region in which we're searching where he might have been able to land a plane that size. All right, now let's bring me to something I couldn't possibly know because I'm not a pilot and I haven't been in the cockpit. If I am making a huge left turn that is not on my flight pattern that has been okayed, like this plane did, and then said goodnight minutes later, 6-7 minutes later, what was on the other side of that dialogue? And I'll ask you, John, would the tower be alerted that this plane just went off course, and what would they have said?
Yeah, so it depends. I think what really happened was they didn't turn, but he had programmed in the turn into his flight computer 12 minutes before the sign-off. So if that's the case, air traffic control would have no indication that he was going to turn. If he had actually turned, then the radar should have picked it up. But the controller would have seen that and would have questioned, you know, what are you doing, because he's off course, and it would wonder if there was some sort of problem on board the airplane.
Philip, what's the other side of the dialogue? We know he said good night and goodbye, but we don't know what they said to him prior to that. Why don't we get this dialogue released?
Well, we should have gotten it, and we should have gotten it immediately. You know, Megan Kelly, I think, broke this last night, and what she said was that the turn had actually occurred prior to the pilot making his final sign-off. And yes, it's correct. Air traffic control obviously is going to know what time the sign-off occurred. Air traffic control, since the transponders were on prior to that time, would have seen the turn. But we don't have all the information, and it's very possible that air traffic control did question him about that, but that information has not been released to us yet.
Right, John, so I'm saying the turn is made. So having said the turn is made, that's the report we're getting. What would the tower say when they make a turn that has not been okayed like that?
Yeah, anytime someone deviates from their course, it wouldn't be the tower, it would be the radar controller would then question, why you made the turn, because the controller is responsible for keeping that airplane away from other airplanes.
So why don't we get that? Phil, why don't we get that?
I have no idea. That's the $64,000 question. We should have had the National Transportation Safety Board and the FBI in here from day one with access to all the information, every single bit of it, because what we're having right now is dribs and drabs of little bits and pieces coming out at different times, often inconsistent, and it's really frustrating the search efforts here.
Right, and guys, I got a ton of questions for you, so Phil and John, we're going to ask you to stick around for the rest of the show because things are breaking during our show. If you have a question about this investigation, we want you to tweet us, we want you to email us, friends@foxnews.com and @Fox and Friends.